Have you ever felt a deep sense of connection to something far grander than yourself? A whisper of an underlying unity beneath the surface of everyday life? Or perhaps experienced a moment of profound intuition, a knowing that defied logic, suggesting that consciousness itself might be more than just a byproduct of the brain? We often navigate our lives feeling separate, defined by our individual stories and physical forms. Yet, ancient wisdom traditions and cutting-edge science are beginning to converge on a startling idea that our consciousness, our very awareness, might not be confined to our skulls, but is intimately interwoven with the fabric of the universe itself. This isn't just a philosophical musing, it's a radical shift in perspective that has the power to transform how we understand our purpose, our potential, and our connection to everything around us. Imagine if the very act of focusing your intention could subtly influence reality, not through magic, but through a fundamental principle of existence. This journey we're about to embark on explores the profound implications of this idea, bridging the gap between the unseen currents of spiritual truth and the mind-bending discoveries of quantum physics, revealing how these ancient insights and modern revelations are not contradictory, but rather two sides of the same profound cosmic coin, illuminating a path to a more connected, purposeful, and truly vibrant life. For millennia, humanity has grappled with the profound mystery of existence, seeking answers not just in the tangible world around us but in the unseen dimensions of spirit and consciousness. From the intricate philosophical systems of ancient India to the contemplative practices of Taoist sages, a consistent thread emerges. The universe is not a collection of separate parts, but a dynamic, interconnected whole, an unfolding dance of energy and awareness. In the Upanishads, the foundational texts of Vedanta, we find the concept of Brahman, the ultimate reality, described as beyond all attributes, yet the source of all existence. It is the ground of being, and remarkably, the individual soul, Atman, is considered identical with Brahman. This isn't merely a poetic metaphor, it's a radical assertion that our deepest essence is one with the divine, a recognition that the universe is not something external to us, but something we are intrinsically a part of. The Tao Te Ching, attributed to Laozi, speaks of the Tao, the ineffable eternal principle that governs the universe. It is the way, the flow, the underlying harmony that allows all things to exist in balance. The wisdom of the Tao encourages us to align with this natural flow, to cease striving against the current and instead become one with its rhythm, recognizing that true power lies not in control, but in surrender to the grander unfolding. Buddhism, with its emphasis on interconnectedness and the impermanence of all phenomena, further reinforces this notion. The concept of dependent origination, or pratitya samutpada, teaches that all things arise in dependence upon other things, nothing exists in isolation. Our sense of self, our thoughts, our emotions, all are dependent on a vast web of causes and conditions. This understanding naturally leads to compassion, as we recognize our inherent connection to all sentient beings. Even within the Abrahamic traditions, mystical currents have explored similar terrain. Christian mystics like Meister Eckhart spoke of the Godhead as an unknowable essence beyond the personal God, a divine ground with which the human soul could achieve union. Sufism, the mystical branch of Islam, emphasizes the annihilation of the ego fana to achieve a direct experience of the divine unity Tawheed, seeing God's presence in every atom of creation. These diverse traditions, separated by geography and time, all point towards a truth that transcends cultural boundaries, that reality is fundamentally unified, and our individual consciousness is a facet of this grander, universal consciousness. This ancient wisdom, often dismissed as mere poetry or superstition by a purely materialistic worldview, finds an unexpected echo in the most groundbreaking discoveries of 20th and 21st century physics. Quantum mechanics, the science of the very small, has shattered our classical notions of a solid, predictable universe. It reveals a reality far stranger and more fluid than we could have imagined, a realm where particles can exist in multiple places at once, where observation itself seems to influence reality, and where entanglement suggests instantaneous connections across vast distances. Pioneers like Niels Bohr, one of the founders of quantum mechanics, famously stated, "Isolated material particles are abstractions, their properties being definable and observable only through their interaction with other systems." This echoes the Buddhist concept of dependent origination, suggesting that nothing truly exists in isolation. Erwin Schrödinger, another titan of quantum theory, was deeply influenced by Vedanta, seeing parallels between the quantum wave function and the cosmic consciousness described in the Upanishads. He believed that the multiplicity of minds is only apparent, and that consciousness is a singularity whose subject is the one and only. These aren't just abstract ideas for physicists in labs, they have profound implications for how we live our lives. If our consciousness is indeed interwoven with the fabric of reality, then our thoughts, intentions, and emotions are not merely internal phenomena, they are subtle vibrations that interact with the quantum field. This is where the ancient spiritual insights meet the cutting edge of modern science, offering a powerful framework for understanding everything from intuition and healing to the power of collective intention. The historical figures who bridged these worlds, often ahead of their time, faced skepticism and misunderstanding. Nikola Tesla, for instance, a visionary who sought to harness the universe's free energy, spoke of a universal ether, an intelligent medium from which all matter and energy sprang. While his concept of the ether was later superseded by quantum field theory, his intuition about an underlying, pervasive energy field that could be tapped into resonates powerfully with both ancient spiritual concepts of prana, or chi, and modern ideas of zero-point energy. His unconventional ideas and the perceived threat they posed to established energy paradigms led to his work being largely suppressed or misunderstood, a testament to how challenging it can be to introduce paradigm-shifting concepts. The FBI's interest in his papers after his death hints at the powerful implications of his understanding of energy and its potential to disrupt existing power structures, demonstrating how profound scientific and spiritual insights can be seen as both liberating and threatening to the status quo. The stage is now set to explore how these grand ideas translate into the lived human experience, revealing a universe far more conscious, interconnected, and responsive than we ever dared to imagine. Imagine a vast, shimmering ocean. Most of us perceive ourselves as individual waves, distinct and separate, with our own unique crests and troughs, our own journeys across the surface. We experience life from this wave perspective, feeling joy, sorrow, success, and struggle, believing these experiences are solely our own. But what if, beneath the surface, we are all part of the same ocean? What if our individual consciousness, our unique awareness, is merely a temporary manifestation of a deeper, universal consciousness, much like a wave is a temporary form of the ocean itself? This is the profound implication when we bridge the ancient spiritual understanding of unity with the revelations of quantum physics. Consider the concept of non-locality in quantum mechanics. It suggests that two entangled particles, once connected, remain instantaneously linked no matter how far apart they are. If you measure the spin of one particle, the other particle, even light years away, instantly assumes the opposite spin. There's no known signal traveling between them. The connection is immediate, defying the speed limit of light. This isn't magic, it's a fundamental property of reality at the quantum level. Now, extend this idea to consciousness. What if our individual consciousnesses are not isolated entities, but entangled particles of a larger, universal awareness? This would explain those moments of profound intuition, where you just know something without logical explanation, or the uncanny sense of connection you feel with a loved one miles away, a shared emotion or thought that transcends physical distance. It's as if the ocean of consciousness is communicating with itself through its various waves. Think about the placebo effect. A person is given a sugar pill, believing it's a powerful medicine, and their body genuinely heals. This isn't just wishful thinking. It's the mind, through belief and expectation, influencing biological processes. From a quantum consciousness perspective, this isn't surprising. If consciousness is fundamental, then our beliefs and intentions are not just internal thoughts. They are energetic patterns that interact with the quantum field, subtly influencing the probabilities of what manifests in our physical reality. The body, being a part of this physical reality, responds to these conscious inputs. The placebo effect becomes a powerful demonstration of the mind's inherent capacity to self-organize and heal, guided by the conscious and subconscious beliefs held by the individual. It's a testament to the power of our inner world shaping our outer experience. Consider the metaphor of a dream. When you dream, you create an entire world with characters, landscapes, and narratives. Yet, every element in that dream, every character, every object, every experience, is ultimately a projection of your own mind. When you wake up, the dream dissolves back into the unified consciousness from which it arose. What if our waking reality is, in some profound sense, a collective dream or projection of a universal consciousness? This idea, deeply rooted in traditions like Advaita Vedanta, where the world is seen as Maya illusion, doesn't mean reality isn't real. It means its ultimate nature is not what it appears to be on the surface. It's a dynamic, unfolding manifestation of consciousness, rather than a fixed, independent material reality. This understanding shifts our relationship with suffering. If we're all interconnected waves of the same ocean, then harming another is, in a profound sense, harming ourselves. Compassion, then, is not merely an ethical choice, it's a recognition of a fundamental truth about reality. When we act with kindness and empathy, we are not just helping another, we are aligning with the inherent unity of all existence, fostering harmony within the greater whole of which we are an inseparable part. This perspective transforms our understanding of forgiveness. Holding on to anger or resentment is like a wave trying to separate itself from the ocean. It creates internal turbulence. Releasing it allows us to flow back into the natural current of connection and peace, recognizing that the perceived separation was an illusion. Think of the experience of synchronicity, those meaningful coincidences that feel too perfect to be random. You think of an old friend, and moments later, they call. You need a specific book, and it falls off a shelf right in front of you. From a purely materialistic viewpoint, these are just chance occurrences. But from a quantum consciousness perspective, they can be seen as glimpses of the underlying interconnectedness of reality, moments when the field responds to our intentions or needs in a way that appears serendipitous. It's as if the universe, being a conscious entity, is responding to our internal states, arranging events to reflect our inner landscape. Carl Jung, who coined the term synchronicity, believed it pointed to a causal connecting principle, suggesting a deeper order beyond linear cause and effect. Consider the profound shift in perspective this offers for personal growth. If our consciousness is not limited to our brain, but is a part of the universal field, then our potential is vast. Practices like meditation and mindfulness, which cultivate present moment awareness and quiet the incessant chatter of the ego, are not just stress reduction techniques. They are methods for tapping into this deeper, unified consciousness. By quieting the individual wave, we can become more aware of the ocean beneath, accessing intuition, creativity, and a profound sense of peace that transcends our individual circumstances. When we meditate, we are essentially aligning our individual frequency with the universal frequency, allowing for a clearer reception of insights and guidance that might otherwise be obscured by the noise of daily life. This also redefines our relationship with death. If consciousness is fundamental and universal, then it doesn't simply cease to exist when the physical body dies. The wave dissolves back into the ocean, its unique form gone, but the water, the essence, remains. This perspective offers solace and a profound sense of continuity, transforming death from an ultimate ending into a transition, a return to the source. It aligns with ancient spiritual teachings that speak of reincarnation or emerging with the divine, suggesting that our individual journey is part of an eternal cosmic dance of creation and dissolution. It's not about losing who you are, but realizing the bigger picture of what you truly are. Think of an artist creating a masterpiece. The painting begins as an idea, an intention in the artist's mind. Slowly, through the act of creation, that idea manifests into a physical form on the canvas. Similarly, if the universe is a manifestation of consciousness, then our thoughts, intentions, and collective beliefs are constantly co-creating our reality, individually and collectively. This gives us immense responsibility and power. The negativity, fear, and division we see in the world are not just external problems. They are reflections of our collective consciousness. Conversely, cultivating love, compassion, and unity within ourselves and our communities can literally shift the energetic fabric of reality, contributing to a more harmonious world. The concept of observer effect in quantum physics is another powerful parallel. Particles behave differently when they are observed than when they are not. Before observation, they exist in a state of probability, a superposition of possibilities. Only upon observation does the wave function collapse into a definite state. While the precise mechanism and interpretation are still debated, it suggests that consciousness, or at least the act of observation, plays a role in shaping reality at the most fundamental level. If our consciousness has this power at the quantum level, how much more does it influence our macroscopic world, the world of our daily experience? It implies that our attention, where we focus our awareness, has a profound impact on what we perceive and what manifests in our lives. What we choose to observe and how we choose to interpret it literally shapes our personal reality. Consider the story of a person who experiences a radical shift in their life after a profound spiritual awakening or a near-death experience. They often report a feeling of interconnectedness, a dissolution of the ego, and an overwhelming sense of love and purpose. These experiences, though subjective, are consistent across cultures and time, suggesting a common underlying reality. From a quantum consciousness perspective, these experiences could be seen as moments when the individual's consciousness momentarily expands beyond its usual boundaries, tapping into the broader universal consciousness, offering a glimpse of the ocean from the perspective of the ocean itself, rather than just a single wave. It's a direct, unmediated experience of the unity that usually remains hidden by our everyday perceptions. The implications for healing are immense. If consciousness is fundamental, then illnesses are not just physical malfunctions. They can also be expressions of energetic imbalances or dissonances within the individual's consciousness, or between the individual and the larger field. Healing, then, involves not just treating symptoms, but addressing the underlying energetic and conscious patterns. Practices like energy healing, Reiki, or even profound emotional release can be understood as ways of realigning these subtle energetic flows, allowing the body's innate healing intelligence to restore balance. This is why holistic approaches to health often emphasize the mind-body connection, recognizing that true wellness encompasses not just the physical but the mental, emotional, and spiritual dimensions of being. Finally, think about the power of collective intention. From prayer groups focusing on healing to global meditations for peace, there's anecdotal evidence suggesting that focused collective intention can have measurable effects. While scientific studies are still emerging, the idea that a unified field of consciousness could be influenced by collective thought aligns perfectly with the principles we've discussed. If individual consciousnesses are like nodes in a vast network, then when those nodes align their intentions, the signal amplifies, creating a more powerful influence on the quantum field, potentially shaping macroscopic events. This is why movements for social change, driven by shared vision and intention, can transform societies in ways that seem to defy conventional logic. It's the power of the collective consciousness, awakening to its own creative potential. The journey into quantum consciousness compels us to re-examine the very nature of reality, and in doing so, we encounter theories that stretch the limits of our everyday understanding. One prominent idea is that consciousness is not merely an emergent property of the brain, but a fundamental aspect of the universe, much like space, time, or energy. This panpsychism perspective suggests that consciousness, in its most rudimentary form, exists everywhere, from the subatomic particles to the vast cosmic structures. It's not that everything is thinking in the human sense, but that there's an inherent awareness or responsiveness woven into the fabric of existence. Think of it like this. Just as gravity is a fundamental force, so too is consciousness, perhaps operating on different scales and levels of complexity. This idea challenges the conventional scientific view that the brain produces consciousness, suggesting instead that the brain might be more of a receiver or a filter for a universal consciousness. Much like a radio tunes into a specific frequency, this would explain why damage to certain brain regions can impair consciousness, not because it destroys consciousness itself, but because it impairs the brain's ability to process or express it. Another fascinating theory, often associated with quantum mechanics, is the many worlds interpretation. While primarily a physical theory about how the wave function collapses, some interpretations extend it to consciousness. It posits that every time a quantum measurement is made, or every time a choice is made, the universe splits into multiple parallel universes, each representing a different outcome. If consciousness is fundamental, then our awareness might be traversing these branching realities. While this theory is highly speculative and mathematically complex, it offers a mind-bending possibility for understanding the vastness of potential and the nature of our choices. It suggests that every possibility, no matter how remote, might exist in some parallel reality, and our consciousness is simply experiencing one particular trajectory through this multiverse. Moving beyond physics, philosophical ideas like idealism further support the notion of consciousness as primary. Philosophers like George Berkeley argued that to be is to be perceived, esse est percipi, suggesting that reality fundamentally consists of ideas in a mind rather than independent material objects. While often misinterpreted as denying the existence of the external world, idealism posits that the world exists as a coherent experience within a greater consciousness. This resonates with the dream analogy we explored earlier, where the dream world exists as long as the dreamer's mind sustains it. From this viewpoint, the perceived solidity and objectivity of the world are products of a collective, shared consciousness. However, it's crucial to acknowledge the limitations of our current scientific knowledge. While quantum mechanics provides intriguing parallels, it does not offer a direct, empirical proof of a universal consciousness. The hard problem of consciousness, explaining how subjective experience arises from physical matter, remains one of the greatest unsolved mysteries in science. We have sophisticated models of brain activity, but we still don't fully understand why those activities lead to the subjective feeling of redness or the experience of joy. The theories we're discussing here are often at the frontier of scientific inquiry, existing as plausible hypotheses or philosophical frameworks rather than established facts. Scientists